1926, Carter G. Woodson gave us Black History Week. Now, almost 100 years later, many of us are still stuck in the month of February. But our legacy, it doesn't just fit into 28 days. The Black Heritage Day app is here to change all of that. It brings Black history to your fingertips every single day of the year. Based on years of research by Dr. Carl Mack, our historian, our griot, just 3 minutes a day, that's all it takes to read, learn, and listen to an oral narrative of your history.
Indeed, the Southern states went to war over the rights for each of the 11 Confederate states to own our ancestors.
To connect with your roots, to teach your children the truth they won't get in school.
In total, he is credited with 28 other inventions. But as a Black inventor, he struggled to gain.
Learn why New Year's Day was once considered the most dreaded day of the year.
Parents were separated from their children, siblings separated, and spouses separated from one another. And today, America has the nerve to lecture us about the status of the Black family.
Understand the political journey of Black America from the Republican Party to the Democratic Party.
It marked the beginning of Blacks' departure from the Republican Party to the Democratic Party. And here's why we switched.
Dive into culture and triumph like Sidney Poitier's blockbuster film success. And so much more. From heartbreak to triumph. From January 1st to December 31st. This app is more than a download. It's a movement. It's a community of Black families raising their kids on truth and on legacy. Download the Black Heritage Day app for free in the Google Play Store or on the Apple App Store. This isn't just an app. It is a daily celebration of who we are.
Work that we're doing here is not going to stop when it comes to these type of discussions. It's going to be for us and by us here on this platform when the media is telling us to look the other way. Your support is what helps us move forward. Join patreon.com/like it or not. Help us grow.
Like It or Not starts now.
Good morning, good morning, good morning.
Good morning and welcome to Like It or Not, where we're free to tell the truth.
And I care who doesn't like it.
Good morning, Pastor Ben. You ain't see that I was telling you to go ahead and roll David's commercial if you had it.
Oh, I don't think I have that one. And you know what? I should have it because I'm a part of the team making it work. You need me to go and find it?
No. I just want to make sure it wasn't me.
Gotcha.
Understood.
Yeah. It wasn't her, David. You know me. I'm out here producing on the fly. Everybody in the chat rooms. Good to see everybody.
Good to see everybody. I know it's been a little second since we've joined together for the good.
It does feel like it's been a while, right?
No, it has actually, because last week I don't think I did anything. I don't think I did anything on my own. I don't think I did any streams. I wasn't on the Leftist Mafia. I was supposed to be. Fell asleep. I'm always falling asleep. Also, because my nephew graduated last week. I just feel like I haven't had much time to me. But nephew graduated last week. Brother came down, so we had to do some family stuff. And I had went to a dinner. Somebody planned for my birthday. I don't know why that stuff makes me tired. I don't know why, I just wanted to be home. And I just feel like I just been so tired. My sister's birthday was also, her birthday is 7 days after mine, exactly a week after mine, my older sister. So then there was that as well. And
tell sister said happy birthday.
I will. And so that's pretty much what it was. I just feel like I just been on the go. And I'm just so kind of mentally, physically Spiritual. I'm tired. I'm
Your
tired. My
your
voice is going
voice,
away. I
not
know. Y'all can hear my voice.
yes, said your poor woman's voice is tired. She needs a hug.
I know. Y'all hear it. And I hate that for me because, naturally I have a raspy voice, but
Mhm.
your girl been struggling. I've been struggling. Um, I guess this year, like I don't try to feel the stress, but my body does. So
Mm.
what's been happening is I've been going hoarse most of the year.
Uh,
When I'm overwhelmed and stuff, I've just been going hoarse. And is this what happens when you're 35 and plus? Is that's the thing. But that's been happening for me. Oh, what's going on with the green
I'm
screen?
trying to get it tight. I don't know why it's doing all this stuff around making half of my face disappear, but it is.
Nobody's seen it until you try to mess with it.
Mess with it,
Nobody's
and I
seen
made
it.
it clear.
Yeah.
Uh,
Mhm.
Good
But
morning to everybody again. Oh, thanks. Here's a birthday present from Not Los.
oh, thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah,
Oof. Yeah. Look, your girl's 35, y'all. I've been 35 for what? 10 days?
Angela Bassethound said it's hard out here for a pimp.
It is. It is actually. It is. And I also went to this weekend. It's just getting out the house is tiring for me. I went to the Atlanta Jazz Festival.
Mhm.
That's me, Tiger. I'm literally so exhausted trying to figure out my life as far as what to do to keep everything going financially and all the things. Do I need to search for a 9 to 5 that pays $16 an hour, or do I need to just put my all into continuing this work that may not pay at all? You know what I'm saying? Or do I go home, check in with my mom for her surgery? She's having another one. Or
Oh
do I?
wow.
It's just I'm tired. I'm tired, man. I'm tired.
Well, here we are.
Immigration stuff is crazy. FAMU, what's going on over there at my school? We are tired. I'm tired. I'm just tired. Every issue you can think
So
about.
why are we here this morning? You should be sleeping in.
No, I can't even do that because I'm sleeping in my dreams. I'm running from everything I'm tired from.
I feel you. I feel you. But life is going on and stuff's going on. We got to talk about it. We got to
Absolutely.
push through it. And kind of sort of, we got to let folks know that we still here. We
Absolutely.
might not be, but we're here.
Yeah.
And when the time comes, we're gonna be here regularly. But right now, this is the pop-up edition, the pop-up season. How long have we been in the pop-up season? Which I don't mind. Like I actually like doing it, to be honest with
Me too. We've been in the pop-up season about most of the year now. We're
you. Yeah.
doing Saturdays mostly, and then
Mhm.
we have our Wednesdays. Usually, we're trying to add that in, either a Wednesday or a random day of the week. So when we can
There we
do
go.
it, most of all. But I like it too. I think that it's giving them 2 shows a week. Okay.
Mm.
And I'm with it. Other than that, what's been going on with you before we get to some news? Because there's a lot for us to get to.
Yeah, nah, I'm just, me just always working on a project here and there and just getting ready to drop out. That's why we were supposed to go at 10:30, then 10:45, but it was on me today. It was on me today.
Because every day it's on me.
I own today. So I'm just wrapping up some work and ready to release some stuff. It's just, you know what, Rebecca, like before, not even really going into any of the details about the study I'm about to drop. We just really, and I know you know this, I know the audience knows this, but I think we have to kind of tell ourselves and remind ourselves of this, that we're not living during a normal time. Like we're living during a time where these folks are really hyping themselves up into fascism and violence, and the destruction of not only democracy, but the destruction of the planet and just the destruction of education and public health. And they're so thorough with it. We covered it last
Yes.
week, how they reached all the way down into FAMU and
Yes.
HBCUs, and they're destroying education. And I don't know if you heard this part of what's going on at FAMU is that they're trying to sell off
Yes.
the pharmacy department
Oh yeah.
to Florida State.
So they've been trying to do this since I have went there, not the pharmacy department, because we had just gotten, it was fresh. Our pharmacy school was really fresh when I got there. And so when I first got there, they wanted to sell off our law school, our SJGC, and our business over to FSU. They wanted to put their name on it and say that that was their school. Yet this is something that we grew, we put together. Everything, our law school, our business, and our SJGC. They wanted to take the schools and put them as attach them to FSU. And we fought that. The students fought that. We were fighting since then, and they decided not to do the merger because we ended up getting a what president that said hell no.
Right. And
so now Miss
Marva.
Okay. You know, Miss Larva. Marva. Okay.
Marva.
She wants to come in and, or not, she wants to. She's the face for Ron DeSantis. She's the face for the right. She's the face of the people who say that we, especially in Florida, that we should not be teaching Black history, anything Black, to remove it from universities, which has already been done. But the attacks on an HBCU, literally historical Black colleges and universities, are we not supposed to teach Blackness there? Are we not supposed to highlight Blackness there? The schools itself are because FSU said hell no to us. So
That's
what
right.
we do? We said, hell yeah. And we began to build. That's why they call it agriculture and mechanical university. Everything on that campus was built by the hands of those who couldn't go over to across the train tracks to FSU because they said whites only. So the bare hands of the people who did agriculture on the university, who built it, all the land, killed rattlesnakes as they continued to build up the land, put together construction on their own to build these schools. FAMC became FAMU. And they want to take away our legacy and sell us off for cheap. We've been fighting FSU for decades. They've been having to send their white kids over to our campus for school.
You know, that's the recurring pattern, right? So one of the things in the study I'm getting ready to drop, hopefully today or tomorrow, is the recurring patterns. What they do throughout history, they co-opt. They just go. They first we innovate. Black people specifically, Black people, we innovate, we create, we revolutionize. We bring all types of new ideas. You got to. I know you haven't heard about it yet, but Dr. Mack gave me access to his 366-day calendar of STEM, Black contributions in STEM, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. And when I was going through that calendar, I was like, oh my goodness, I had no idea Black folks were that critical to every technology that we enjoy, from cell phones to computers. Black folks have been intricate in making it a reality. And what do? They take the innovation, they erase the Black name, and they put a white face on it.
Yes.
And then we completely forget there's a whole generation that's born that never knew that Black folks made these kind of contributions. That's exactly what they're doing to FAM.
Mm-hmm. They want to erase it, just like they did when they went on to what was it, the historical site where they removed the information about Harriet Tubman, and then wanted to say about the Underground Railroad, and then wanted to say that they Harriet worked hand in hand. And I get it, there were abolitionists too who were there with us, who were helping people to get to one place to another, but also they had to stay in hiding to protect their families and stuff like that. So it ain't that there was thousands of them. It's the trickled in people, but the majority still were the Black folks and the Black women that did what needed to be done. But they want to change history, revisionists. That's what they are. They want to do that so that people can forget or say that white people were a part of. And while that may be true, we know there was 2 or 3, right? It was 2 or 3 and I'm not saying that's the exact number, but I'm saying if we're talking about the scope of it, you have to understand that Black folks had to get it out the mud. How they say it today, the kids say they came from the trenches. They literally ran from guns, hound dogs, were walking through swamps, sleeping wherever. I'm pretty sure you and yourself cannot imagine doing that today because the stress of life for us takes us down. And these people were willing to risk it all to go to freedom. And the people risked it all to build up these universities. The people risked it all to build security cams that they use today. It was a Black woman who helped put that together, her husband. Them security cameras, all of that. The whole technology comes from a Black woman.
And see, and these are the things that we just wouldn't know, because that's the point. If they can erase all of, and I see somebody in the chat room talking about Black fatigue, right? That's a whole nother thing that they've co-opted recently, right? Black fatigue was actually an academic work and a book by a Black woman and scholar who was expressing the fatigue that Black people have in these systems where we regularly have to fight. We don't have moments of rest. And then what did these good white Christian devils do? They co-opted it, and now they're using it as a way to foment violence against us. Like, this is really at the core of my study. Like, the language that's being used right now is genocidal language against Black people, and Black fatigue is one of those things. But how do you accomplish it? Exactly what you just said, Rebecca. They can't do it unless they erase all of the contributions of Black people and then only make us look like whatever they want to make us look like. Never mind the fact that we can find thousands of videos every day of white people in the streets fighting each other like rabid animals. They focus on videos they find of Black people fighting. And so they spread that. And now they're like, oh, we're so tired of Black folks. Oh, we're so fatigued with Black folks, so that they can move to that place where they can not only erase our history, but they can erase us as a people.
Yeah. Nobody. So even along as we're going, we're hearing, we're seeing, we're witnessing, we're experiencing a lot of how the revisionist history and what they're trying to do, especially in this administration, is actually affecting us. I even saw, I talked about Harriet Tubman, and we're seeing how they're stepping into the military and trying to find ways to remove Black men from the military. They took away Jackie Robinson's history from the military website. Why, you ask? I think we talked about this before on the show. Why? Because what he has to do with military history, that's because he was actually somebody who served, and he refused before Rosa Parks actually to sit in the back on, one of the military buses or transportation. And they got upset and they challenged him and they took it to court. And when they took it to court, they basically, I think, what is that called? Marshal something him, where they court-martialed him, yes, after the words. And they made sure that he was the one who was made an example of, where although he basically kind of won and was told to go back and serve, each time he would come out, they made it tough for him, hard for him, difficult for him. So he had to leave. And they took his history off of the military site. And everybody was like, didn't know about it, but the people who did know went to go make sure it was still there. When it wasn't there, they were like, oh, you want to remove this information that highlights the racism within the military, and then go into today, because all of this is happening at once, weeks after each other, right? This was back in March. This story broke. And along with what they're doing right now, they're trying to get Black men out of the military. So they took that off the site while they're trying to do this whole racist removal of Black men in the military. And the way that they want to go about it, we talked about this as well, is the razor bumps, right? They want to say that the razor bumps are the reason that Black folks can't serve. So it's this whole idea. They made sure that when they came out with that story, that nobody would go and do their research about how they've always been trying to find ways to remove Black people from the military. So any way that we've served and we've done great things. And again, we the 6888, thank you to Tyler Perry
for putting that
which it
out.
was actually a really good story, a very good film, a very good documentary style film where it shows we never heard of these ladies, but they were the ones that were responsible for bringing up the morale. Why? Because all of these letters that were being backed up, that they gave them, what was it, 6 months to do? They did it in less time. They were put into a cold, they were lodged in this cold, old dormitory, and with no AC or with no heat or no nothing. These are women, and they made it do what it do. They created a hair salon. They did all the things from nothing, but they don't ever want to talk about how Black people kept things moving and running, whether it was in military, like you said, women in STEM, men in STEM. Black people are the reason why so many things are working, especially within this nation in America. And here we are. Donald Trump wants to do all this revisionist history to make it seem like white people were good. White people were part of. White people weren't always. And that's not, I'm not going to let that be the situation or the case. It can't be.
Yeah. And this is the absurdity of this moment, right? Because we can see very transparently how completely and utterly incompetent and just downright stupid MAGA whites are, MAGA blacks too. But just, you know, since we're talking about the racial component, they're trying to erase the contributions of Blackness. Meanwhile, Donald Trump's administration is extremely white and is extremely incompetent. It's hilarious. If it would be insulting, it is insulting, but it's also kind of like pathetically hilarious, because they are the very definition of a sub-performing, sub-mediocre group of individuals, and yet they have been able to promote themselves as the standard. Case in point, Pete Hegseth, Secretary of Defense, the most unqualified Secretary of Defense in the history of our entire nation. And yet he's the one who has the unmitigated gall to go through and remove everyone Black, call them DEI hires, and insult the contributions of Blackness. When I'm like, wait a minute, bro, you were barely he couldn't even get a full-time job at Fox News. He was a weekend anchor. Shout out to the weekend anchors at local stations. I ain't dogging you, but Pete Hegseth was not qualified enough to get a full-time position at Fox News. And yet that mediocre piece of public drunk was promoted to the very top of the military, and now he has the power to erase the contributions of Black people in America's military. Your mic is off. Your mic is off.
And the way I was going in, the way I had a point to make. I said, let's take it a step further. We're talking about this current administration and how they are hiring people who are not qualified, who are not experienced, and putting them in place. But we're talking about military. Let's take it to education. Linda McMahon, right?
Oh
McMahon. I don't know how the white folks pronounce it.
It's McMahon. Yeah.
I used to say McMahon back when they was the wrestling people and family, you know, but because Linda is not qualified. And for those who are wondering why I'm mentioning wrestling, who's her husband again?
Vince McMahon.
Vince McMahon.
Yeah,
and that's who Linda is. She is now heading the education up for the United States. She's the education secretary, y'all. The education secretary. And imagine, the only experience she has is, I couldn't even give it to you. Ben, I don't even know. What experience does she has that makes her what she
is? Nothing. Literally nothing. Literally no experience. I mean, really, let's go and not to take you off of what you're getting ready to say, but this is the case with almost every person Donald Trump. There was one guy who got appointed, and I forgot his position, but they called him on audio. And if somebody in the audience can recall his name and put a link or something, just even if you get his name, I can get the audio, right? on audio, he got in a position. He was like, I don't even know what this position does. I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing here. That's the level of unqualified foolishness we're dealing with. But yeah, Linda McMahon has zero qualifications.
No, and they're treating it like business, right? To me, there's no tell me what the relationship is that this woman who comes from or who supports anything that is anti-DEI, and not that, fam, you has to be the face of DEI, but they've made it, right? Because DEI is equal to, for visual purposes for the right, Black, anything Black. That is the head of the DEI example. Black immigrant, Black education, Black entertainers, Black corporate leaders, Black employees, Black disabled people, just Black inventors, Black scientists, Black doctors, Black lawyers. You were hired because you were Black. We picked you because you were Black. The only reason why you're successful is because you were a DEI hire. You're Black. Nothing special about you, but we just had to meet quota. So Linda McMahon, who subscribes to that ideology, is now head of education. So there's no, even though in the beginning they said that they were making room for and funding HBCUs, we see that there is this dismantling of core HBCU values and HBCU leadership so that they can overtake it. Excuse me. So that they can come in, put in their white ideologies, put in their thinking, their removal of all of our Black history, because us talking about our Black history in any of these spaces, in education and employment and all this stuff, is because it gives us an opportunity to see ourselves beyond just being slaves. We had people who were creating. Uncle Nearest, I know that's not even in the topic, but it is in the topic, because Jack Daniels is the creator of the whiskey. Uncle Nearest, that's the brand of the new whiskey, right? From the Black lady who decided to push the brand. But I forget the first name of the person, but the last name is Nearest.
I don't drink no more, so I don't know.
And Nearest, and they're the ones that helped Jack Daniels learn how to create whiskey, basically the inventor of the formula that Jack Daniels created for whiskey. Was not included, of course, a slave, freed person. And their name was never really attached. And when they made a fuss about it, then they included them now into the history. But they said, no, we need to go deeper. Because you were white, you got the privilege off of my back, off of my inventions. So this woman went ahead and created the Uncle Nearest brand to push the history that was forgotten, the history that was overlooked on purpose, the history that was removed or never added, because they don't want any, they want to do what they've always done. And that is to make white people the savior, make white people the creator, make white people
the only thing.
Yeah. The best thing. And that to me is where I know we have to continue in the space, because the more we hush about it, the issues that are going to arise, even from a leftist point of view, if it's white, it's not going to be anything that associates itself with Black people. And I'm not saying that to be mean, but I just know in the leftist space, I'm in a leftist space on Thursday nights, and I love that they have me there so that we can have nuanced conversations about everything. I think it's important to have the Black voice within those spaces, because I think when it's not there, the conversations are very linear. They are stuff that Black people would never know about, won't be affected by, will be affected by, but not in a major way. It's just not on a major scale. I think right now the people who are getting hit the hardest, besides just somebody being poor, somebody being without healthcare, those are very important things. But every issue that has been major has been Black, whether it was immigrant. We are getting hit the hardest when we look at the numbers, whether it's employment, it's us. Whether it's housing, it's us. Whether it's education, look what's happening, it's us. We can't afford to go to all those schools that don't want to choose us. Our HBCUs make room for us. Our HBCUs give opportunity to the person that had a 1.9 GPA in high school. I've seen it. They put you on probation for your first year.
That's right.
And I've seen people who came on probation leave, walk across that stage with a 4.0, who have become CEOs at companies, who have become lead anchors on news channels, who have become strong businessmen. I've seen it with my own eyes because FAMU did that. BCU did that, right? Howard did that.
That's right.
So this attack, it started off with the attack on immigrants. Well, started on the attack on women's autonomy, women's body.
That's right. That's right.
Right? Then we go into the attack on immigrants and me being Haitian and that being the mirror. I'm tired. So I'm trying to tell y'all. They attacking my people literally again.
Every one of your intersections is getting hit, Rebecca.
Getting hit, and I'm tired. I woke up and I said, "Fam, you ain't gonna choose that lady." I closed my eyes for 2 seconds. Same day, 30 minutes later, and they chose that lady. I was appalled. I was like, "Not my school, not my university. It couldn't be." And now we're gathering together in meetings, trying to figure out what we can do, how we're gonna do it, because we gotta be. If we are silent, if FAMU is silent, if alumni are silent, if people who have power and who are alumni are silent, it's not going to go well, because they're trying to make an example of what they can do at FAM, to go down to Daytona and go ahead and do it at BCU, to go back up to DC and go ahead and do it at Howard, to go to Jacksonville and do it at Edgar, to go all these places. They want to attack all of the
Edward,
there's one.
Edward, I was like Edward, Edgar, but Edward Morris is, I think,
is that a name?
Now I'm questioning myself. The HBCU down in Jacksonville.
It's an HBCU down
Edward
in
Waters.
We got there we go. We got Flomo. We got all the other HBCUs that's out there. You can be next. And I've said that. I know that people think it was I just said it just like that in my video about immigrants. I said, you could be next. And what happened 5 seconds later? White folks was out here like, can I have smoke, please? Like, if you don't get your immigrant behind back, it was like that. You can be next.
Right.
They're telling white folks to self-deport if they don't like it. They're telling folks who are white adjacent and been here for generations and generations, you look a little like you got a little Mexican in you. Let's see them papers. Like,
wait, the funniest part about it, Rebecca, is that we are being told this by people who barely been here 3 generations. Barely. Like a lot of these white folks who are mired and just deep in this racism, they came over here like in the 50s. Their grandparents, they were here because of their grandparents, and they have the unmitigated caucasity to turn around and tell black folks who have been here since 1619 that we got to leave, or immigrants who've been here since longer than they were, that they got to leave. But you just got fresh off the boat. Matter of fact, you still speak with an accent, some of you. And I mean, literally, one of the biggest accounts on Twitter right now is run by a lady who just moved here from Poland. And she's out here telling black immigrants and brown immigrants that they got to leave. I'm like, y'all got some nerve.
Yeah, it's funny you bring that up, because now we got a whole, how many of them came over from the Afrikaners? The Afrikaners? 59 of them.
But they're trying to get like thousands of them. But
yeah, they are. I think it was like they're trying to get like 4,000 or 5,000, whatever.
I think they're trying to go for like 60,000 total. But right now,
so my number was too low.
It was only 60 people, 59 people.
60 people, and these people have been. I want to look for. I know we're live right now, guys. This is what we do live. I want to go and find the video of the woman, the journalist who came in, and I think she was on News Nation, and she was speaking to the male.
Oh, you talking about that South African queen?
I need y'all to go and please go find that, please, because
I follow her on Twitter now. Yeah,
please, listen, I ain't on Twitter, but I do follow her on the threads, and I know it's only about 5 of us on threads, but Queen, I am one of your followers. I say this to say, she was tired. She's all the way in South Africa. She came here carrying the weight of, why y'all lying? Elon Musk said, what? He ain't been back, y'all. We ain't seen him, heard from him, nothing. And y'all letting him run the conversation here. I'm here to clarify. Since y'all don't want to do research, I'm here to give y'all the research. And what happened was the host kept saying, "So, are you telling me that it's not true that the white farmers aren't being attacked?" She said, "It's not true." No, so are you really saying that? She said, "I'm saying it ain't happening." What you want me to say? I'm speaking English. Y'all focus on Elon Musk. The narrative that they're trying to do right now is migrate these illegal aliens, these white illegals, bring them here and tag them as refugees. No, hold on. Asylum seekers.
Yes.
Okay? Because refugees is too rough for them. They're asylum seekers, and we're going to house them. We're going to give them money. We're going to give them insurance. We're going to do that. The idea is to give us the false narrative that there's a genocide happening in South Africa. They have been trying to roll with that narrative here in the predominantly white nation of America. In the USA, that there's a genocide happening of white people. But history shows us that there's so many things that want to remove Black people. Recent bombings, I say recent because some of these things happen where people are just turning 60. Remember bombings in the USA of predominantly Black communities. Okay, so all of these things this idea of, if we can't have this narrative here, let's start it where I'm from, Elon Musk, where he's from. But the leader said, "Listen, this is what I did. I said, I'm president now. We're gonna now take. I'm the leader now. We're gonna now take all the Black people who were removed because of the colonization, overthrowing the attacks on the Black communities here in South Africa. We're gonna remove that." And all the Black people who lost their jobs for years and decades, and this because of white folks who came in and did that, we're going to place you at the front. Yeah. We're going to place you in the front of the line. And we're going to make sure that you get your job back. We're going to make sure that you get the training you need, all of the above. Because we are going to bring this country back to what it was.
Make America white again. You want to hear her? But before we hear
absolutely.
her, can I just say something, Rebecca? Mm-hmm. I absolutely love your audience. I love and I need you to team up with my wife, because you have Black women in your chat showing you love at this level. I love it. We need more of it, and I need you to bring my wife into that joy, because that's what she's looking for. She's looking for that Black sisterhood that y'all got.
Absolutely, and you know she from fam, and yes. I got her. Listen,
she's gonna be. I'm going way off topic, but I just keep reading y'all comments, replying to Rebecca, and I'm like, oh, that's what my wife said. She's gonna be preaching. She's gonna be pastoring while I'm on a sabbatical this summer, because I got to go out here and cuss out these white devils, and I don't want to bring that to the pulpit. So I've asked her to fill in. So we need y'all to show up and support her. I also need you to send that song that you were supposed to send. Like,
oh yeah, well, you see. Once the tiredness gets out of my voice, look, that's what I got an excuse today. Once the tiredness get out my voice.
Yes. Okay. So I couldn't hold it anymore. I've been looking at all the comments. I'm looking at all the beautiful Black women in your conversation. I'm like, yes, queens. All right, here we go. And here is one. This sister right here, she read them for Phil. Let's listen to what you were talking about, Rebecca.
That white farmers are not being targeted, or white farmers are not being killed. Why are so many who have big land holdings willing to give up their entire lives to come to America?
Where are they? Show them to me.
We had them land.
Those 49 people are not farmers. There are plenty of reports from South Africa that many of those are not farmers. Those are chances. Please, again, show me the evidence. Those are people taking an opportunity. America's giving them an opportunity.
You're saying
they're not farmers.
I'm just trying to figure this out. You're saying that your president has not in any way targeted whites, even though Elon Musk, who was there, can't get a license for his business.
He was where?
In the Oval Office.
He was in the Oval Office. He's never been to South Africa. When was the last time Elon Musk was in South Africa?
But he can't get.
When was the last time he was in South Africa? His father, Elon Musk's father.
I'm not talking about when he was there.
No, hold on. I want to also make you understand
the accusation is that many whites cannot get licenses to do business, among them Elon Musk.
So we're being forced to undermine our transformative laws. We must be okay with the South Africa, with the majority that is denied of their own land, with the majority is deprived of access to economic transformations and means of production. We must be okay and not move the needle in any way to try and fix that. We must be okay with South Africa being labeled the most unequal country in the world and not trying to do anything to rectify that. Because that's what that argument says.
No, but the fact that
there are laws.
The fact of the matter is
they must be bent for an individual.
No, they might.
That is what the question is.
But if you make laws that target a certain race, don't.
But there are none of those. Where are those, Leland? You're calling me as a journalist from South Africa, and you're putting those to me. I'm asking you for the proof. Donald Trump today. I'm sorry, I'm going to have to lecture a little bit. Donald Trump today called us in there, saying he's got proof of a genocide. South Africa's gone to the ICJ saying that they believe Israel is committing a genocide in Palestine. But they put evidence on the table. They put evidence on the table. A chant is not proof of genocide.
Yes, it is.
A private monument with fake crosses and not actual grave sites is not proof of a genocide. I don't believe that I'm being called in here to defend the indefensible. Those things aren't facts.
Okay.
Donald Trump did not put facts on the table.
You say that. We obviously have the president. Thank you very much. We appreciate it. Yeah.
Yeah, it sucks that it had to end that way. But I'm glad that she got that out there. I would never touch the little white man hand, but they got to do that because they're on television. She got a lot of respect. Now, I will say, there's a video that was going around that Donald Trump is referring to, where all the crosses were lined up in an area in South Africa, and the crosses, you can see them going down. And he was saying that those are the lives of white farmers that died because of genocide. White folks that died. Those were the graves for them. And Donald Trump, who is the president of the United States, pushed this misinformation, pushed this out there. And guess who didn't do research? The man on the show, the man that's the host of the show, the right-wing people who follow and breathe and eat and poop and pee and feed themselves all of Donald Trump's misinformation. They repost it, they retweet it, they teach it to their kids. This is what, when they remove Black history, Black ideology, Black anything in schools, what the host is saying is going to be what replaces it. What Donald Trump is saying is going to be what replaces it. The misinformation and imagery and videos, and that's going to be what replaces it in history books. So when they're crying out, we need to remove the DEI, that means anything Black, anything Hispanic, that highlights white people in a bad light for them, that makes them anything less than a savior. So what was taught to us about Thanksgiving? Love the holiday as far as I can be with my people, but what's behind it, where it came from, history of it, they taught it to us and basically said they joined hands with the indigenous people. And that is not what happened. So the revisionist history is dangerous because it teaches us that white folks are saviors. And in this right here, they want to create this idea so that 50 years down the line, when this thing meets history books, Donald Trump saved white people who were from genocide. 49 white folks who were farmers came over here because of something that's happening. They're taking away their jobs. They are removing any resources for them, and there's a genocide happening for them. That will be in the history books because Donald Trump said it. It's control. And what happens is we get looked at again as bad, or as people who need to be grateful and thankful for the chance that Donald Trump has given us. He saved TikTok, when the truth is he's the one that created the ban, right? He saved healthcare, when he's the one that's the reason why your mama can't get her diabetes medicine. Why you can't get a new wheelchair. You can't go get a simple teeth cleaning. And he saved education Actually, they're just moving. They want to move your loans and make it function as business loans. They want people from small business to take over your education loans. It ain't that he's removing it. It ain't that he's helping you with it. They just moving it on over and saying education is a business, man. He saved housing. Why you ain't able to live and buy your own house today? He saved groceries. Baby, every time you walk into the grocery store, you come out with one bag. You can't even afford to buy your whole household groceries. And the eggs that you complained about, that was $9 when you was complaining, is $15 today. Let's be for real. This revisionist history is going to be definitely dangerous. And they trying to revise something that happened last week today. He didn't do that. He didn't do that. Donald Trump didn't say that. There is video. That didn't happen. That did not. No, I mean, no, it didn't. It didn't happen.
My question, I'm wondering, well, two things. One, is America going to survive Donald Trump? That's up in the air at this point. Who knows? I mean, as far as we know, in 4 years, we'll be a full-blown Gilead from Handmaid's Tale. But setting that aside, let's say we do survive it. Do you think that these well-meaning liberals and average white folk are actually going to put 2 and 2 together and connect the dots between the absolute idiocy of white supremacy and white supremacy in general as the underlying problem? Because they see it. They talk about it right now. They're tweeting it. You even had some maggots, some MAGAs who looked at his speech at West Point last week and were like, oh my goodness, this is horrible. But then they always default right back. Because like no matter what evidence they see, they default right back to, oh, he's Donald Trump. He's the greatest. He's the this, that. So like, will they actually learn their lesson?
Mm-hmm. Remember when there was this trend of people coming out and speaking against Donald Trump after supporting him 99% of the time? And the one moment they're like, oh, I condemn Donald Trump. I speak. You right? Yeah, put that up again.
Yeah, I'm like, not you out here pressuring the game.
I have a whole goal up here. I said, if we meet 10 of it on my in my chat, if we meet 10 in my goal, sorry, this is a pause real quick. If we meet 10 of super chats on my chat, I will rest a little bit. It's nobody except for my one good sis. So you gave to that. They said, you not
everybody on my channel, please go over to her channel and help support that. Because I'm like, here I am, I'm like, man, I love your audience, the black women in the audience, and then you over there bullying them.
Good. My audience is good. Don't get it twisted. They good. They might not have it on today, but I'm just saying. They was like, girl, no, you not resting no more. You not resting no more. But anyway, as I was saying, you know, it's funny that there are people who are out there who I remember there was this trend of happening where we had people on the right, or Congress people, you know, who supported Donald Trump for years, his whole term, voted for him again, voted for all these different laws that would go against constituents, their own, all kinds of things. And they would come up and they would speak against Donald Trump all of a sudden. And then they would make headlines and then they would sit. It was just like the bare minimum. And people would be like, we knew, look what's going on. We already knew, you know, and it's like, like you know, Elizabeth, you know, Liz, Cheney, like we knew that you would get it, you know, and if she's saying it, then it must be something. No, she already knew, and she was complicit every single time. And so right now, people speaking out, I don't want to hear anything about it, because you're the reason why you guys put a battery in his back. You guys helped this person move forward. Right now, we're just looking for the loyal folks who are ready to continue, whether or not we see results today, to continue the fight. And that's why I'm happy, even though it can get cringy sometimes, for the Jasmine Crockett's and the even though he's suspect right now, I ain't gonna hold you.
Who that?
Mr. Light Skin, Cory Booker.
Oh no, Cory Booker always been suspect to me.
Mr.
Always.
Jersey. I'm like, so are we performing?
Yes.
It's giving performative. because
listen, only reason I supported the speech because it was like, okay, he's gonna break the record of a racist. Okay, bye. But Cory Booker's always been performative, yeah, and corny. So I'm sorry. Go ahead.
It's crazy because right now I know we're going off topic, but there's so much that happened. His support of Jared Kushner being what was it? What's the role that he wants Jared Kushner to be? But basically, he even had a statement saying that he's the best pick, and it's like, really, that Jared Kushner from 2016 collusion, Jared Kushner? Are we talking about the same? And yes, we're talking about the same.
Oh, for Kushner's father, voting for Jared Kushner's father.
Okay, Jared Kushner's father, and the connection between all that they've gone through and what they've done. There goes, and this is politics, but it's too crazy when you go a little too close to the sun. Now I got to question what's going on. You're going a little too close to the sun, and it still ain't giving you no tan.
You talking about Corey's lack of tan?
Corey ain't got it.
Corey is just one shade away from being Caucasian himself.
Baby.
Just one accidental bleaching of
Get outside. But you so close to the sun and it ain't helping you.
Lord, oh my goodness, don't nobody get mercy. Now what? You said nobody gets mercy on this channel. You said it's a little cringy. You included Jasmine Crockett in the cringiness.
And I love her. And she's removed herself from some of that stuff. But I'm just saying, we got some people with their head in the game. I don't know. I was going to say Corey, but I'm like, Corey's out here. We can't trust nobody, but we need people to at least trust. I know, guys, hear me out. We can't trust nobody for real in politics. However, we got to uplift the ones who can do something for us in the meantime, who are in position. And you got to make sure you vote locally, because you're local. If they ain't doing it on a state level or excuse me, on a national level, they may be able to do it on a state level. They may be do it on a local level in your city. You gotta vote. You gotta push it. You gotta make sure that this thing is going to work in your favor. If the nation ain't doing it, know that your person is doing it. I also see our good sis Nina Turner, partnering with I want to say Robbie from The Hill Rising, and they're creating a show. They're creating a show. They are creating a show together. I think that it drops this week, Thursday. And it just reminds me of how Nina, a great leader, a great speaker, a woman, after my own heart. We've had her on the show a few times when she was running for Congress. Love her, mean it. But even in these spaces, I feel like she's not protected. She came from a space where we would have thought that was progressive enough, right? TYT, she had her own show there. They didn't push her enough. They didn't validate her enough. They used her voice and then was done with her over at TYT. And I don't want to see that happen with her again. I think she is a voice enough on her own to turn that camera on, get her YouTube channel popping, and own her own stuff at the time. I do. I absolutely do think that. I think right now, a lot of our really prominent voices are partnering with people, again, who don't have. I would never sit with what happens every day on CNN, whom I love, Abby Phillips. And I know that we need to see conversations that are nuanced. I just think this season in our lives as political leaders, as political talking heads, as journalists, we don't have to put ourselves in that position all the time. These people are not to be trusted. We saw what happened with Eric Dyson when he got on there. We saw.
Oh, Lord.
We see what continues to happen with a lot of people who challenge the right on these shows, and the right really have nothing to say, but it becomes argumentative. You are drained. You are yelling. We even in our own spaces where people want to be so contrarian. We got Mark Lamont Hill in the space I thought would be great for people to listen to him and all this stuff. And I say, as this man is losing his mind. Veins is popping out. He's stressed by his own. So I say this to say, protect ourselves. enough. That's why I always decline, even though it probably would give me more views or space or even $1 or two when I get on and I challenge these right wing people. But baby, I'm tired. What does that do for me? What does that do for me? It doesn't. It doesn't give me anything. It doesn't do anything for me. I want to stay on the right side of things in totality every single time, because the moment that I buddy or allow somebody, a right wing person, to say something and I don't agree with it and I let it slide, or I either give it too much and I'm angry and I'm going back and forth, I don't want that.
Yeah.
If I'm gonna be mad about something, you're gonna see it on my channel on Let's Be Clear. You'll see me going off. But I'm not going to challenge somebody, me and somebody going back and forth. That, a Republican pundit, a Republican right wing talking head from the YouTube space. Me and you are not going to go back and forth. I'm not going to be on Piers Morgan where somebody is fixing their mouth to say nigga. It ain't happening. And I said with an A, they wanted to say it with a hard ER, because no, it's just not happening. I would never be baited into those things.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not in this particular time.
Now that was a different time in my life. I definitely don't have the desire to do that kind of work no more.
Anymore, yeah.
Because when you're sitting across from someone whose job is intentionally to lie at the highest level possible, what's the point? Like, what are we here for? Just the argument? I don't argue with my children. I definitely don't argue with my wife. I don't argue with nobody I'm working with. Why am I going to professionally take a job to run my blood pressure up? I got time.
No, we've done it already. We lived that life already. Disagreements turn into these full out arguments, and it's like this ain't it. Like, no. Or we're with people who are on the total opposite of what we're on, and we don't have to stop putting yourself in those places. I think for Abby Phillips, I love her show. I love that she's grown, and we know that she would be considered a DEI pick for CNN because of what happened to her. We pushed her to the forefront, and CNN was like, "We might as well give her a show. We done did her so wrong," and they put her in position. They did the same thing with the Afro Latino man. I forget his name. I don't see him no more, but he had a little segment too. The one that was out there on the field getting disrespected every day by these people.
Oh, the one that got arrested on air doing the George Floyd protest.
Yep.
I can't think his name, but I definitely remember that. Yeah.
Yeah, and we was giving it up for him. That man. So I don't like that when she sits down, she has to sit down with the ops almost every show. Yes, I know journalism. I know not being biased. I know, letting everybody speak and having all these different thoughts. Right now, there's a truth to something being right, and there's a truth to something being wrong.
That's right.
And when we give room to the wrong and have the right, I ain't talking about the right Republican, the people who are on the right side of things, come in and they are yelling, breaking their neck because the person who's wrong simply says, Black people don't have real history here at the table. Or they'll say, building new construction, I think this was the latest one, building new construction or houses or building roads and stuff, don't bother Black people. And the man was like, historically, absolutely it does. All these major roads and stateways and highways ran through old Black land and Black farmage and all of that stuff. It affected Black people. They made sure to run these highways and through historical Black communities. And the communities that are still standing are no longer Black. They're no longer affordable. Gentrification.
And the fact that, one, like you said, they use eminent domain to take Black lands to build every single highway. What was left became traffic through all the 18-wheelers, all the highways, all the cars, all the pollution, creating asthma, health problems for all of the Black communities that are like, how do you not see this? Is why I don't discuss it with them, because their job, again, no, because I just know so many people personally who were physically impacted by it. Not only did their grandparents lose their land when I-95 was built through South Florida, right? Because that went right through every Black community that I've ever grew up in and hung out with. So I know a lot of people right there in that corridor. They lost their land. Their grandparents lost their land. And then the grandchildren grew up with asthma because they're now living right underneath the highway with all of the pollution that comes from it. And then you have people who just, like Elon Musk and the rest of them, who just completely erase that part of history. There's no racism in the highways. Literally, to this day, there is a racial connection between where they chose the land, where they took who they took the land from, and who's living with the aftermath of that land being taken and highways being put in. But when you erase the history, you can't say anything about it in the present.
And the point of this whole conversation, and even see how it's always something within something, is why am I arguing this with somebody who is stuck on saying this didn't happen? You know, and I agree with you, Kiana. Arguing is good. Having the conversation can be good, right? A nuanced one, like how we have on Olay and Friends. We don't all agree. We don't all agree. We're all Black people from different parts of the internet. Sometimes influencers, journalists, lawyers, experts at whatever. We don't all agree. Yet when we get into the space, the way that we can have the conversations can be respectful, where we can agree to disagree, learn something from the person, shut up if we are going to come at them disrespectfully, those type of things. When I'm over here sitting and a white man is telling me, no, that's not true. There's no, like, you always want to make everything racist. How are the highways and you know, the state roads have anything to do with taking away from Black people? And you're stuck on that. And the person is trying to tell you, well, it does actually. And you're saying, no, it doesn't. The white people who want to just commit to that not being a thing without any reasoning or whatever. Here we are trying to keep it cool. It actually does because this, and you're saying it does not. It doesn't. Gave examples. The person is still saying it doesn't. It doesn't. It's going to piss me off because there are so many people who are going to follow this. It doesn't. It doesn't. It doesn't. Yes. Donald Trump is going to repost the it doesn't clip to say, good man there who knows his history. Nothing, it does not affect Black Americans. It doesn't affect Black immigrants. It doesn't affect Black folks in America.
The reason I can't do that kind of work anymore is, one, because I'm entirely too small to slap the people the way I want to slap them when they run those lies. I just, you know, it's illegal and I'll be in jail. And security probably throw me across the room like a rag doll. You remember the episode of Martin when he was boxing Tommy Hearns and got that's how they do me, right? But sometimes arguing with people whose job is intentionally to sow a lie into the national conversation, the only real appropriate response is to slap the taste out their mouth. So why are we having these conversations with people whose job is to intentionally lie to us like that? Now, I would say, if anything, it's there. Somebody has to be there to hold the line against the lie, or else the lie would just go completely unchallenged. And that's why I am grateful. I praise God for Mark Lamont Hill, because he's doing a work that I certainly just would not want to do. But at some point, we got to break that paradigm and say, okay, we're no longer going to have these arguments between somebody who's saying objective truth and someone who's saying an outright lie. And we can have a discussion between people who disagree on how to fix the problem. Right. I want those arguments. Let's argue about policy. Should the tax rate be this percent or this percentage point? Should this, you know, like, if we're going to argue about something, let's argue about solutions, but I don't want to argue about truth.
No, that's true. Okay. Speaking of that, education. On Friday, I'm going to go back to education because there's two things I want to do, because we can
before you do. Wait. I'm sorry. I hate to say, but what you know about Pompano, Darth Raptor? That's where I grew up. Pompano is my town. Pompano Beach. I went to Ely High School. That's exactly when I was talking about the highway going through our communities. I'm specifically visualizing right there off of Pompano, off of near Copens, near MLK. It just cuts right through the Black community, and on either side you got a population of Black folks who are sick and have asthma and have all kind of impacts, because the highway literally found the Black community use eminent domain, which means they don't have to pay you a fair market value. Most of the time they wouldn't. They could take your land, give you a piece of money, and then the result is generations of Black folks who lost their land and lost access to clean air. But shout out to Pompano. Sorry, Rebecca.
No, you're fine. Shout out to Pompano, shout out to Florida, shout out to South Florida, where, you know, this is the best, you know, the best people come from there. like my camera.
I should have said, I should have been talking. I should have kept talking.
You
How
should
you
have
go
kept
fix
talking.
your camera?
I was gonna take a quick break to change it.
Do that. Do that. I'll
yeah.
keep talking for you for a second. Deerfield, my girlfriend I went to prom with, she went to Deerfield Beach. I had to go to 2 proms, Ely High prom and then Deerfield Beach. I used to skip school a little bit and go borrow my brother's car and go drive over and take my little girlfriend from Deerfield out for lunch. Let's see. Let me give us a couple others. Oh, you back. Oh,
No,
one
go
more
ahead.
example
No,
that I think is really important.
Mhm.
Learning to love myself. She said this, look at how Elon has an AI plant in Memphis. This plant will affect the Black community. He's put the power plant for his AI inside of a historically Black community, and the effects that they already know it's going to have on the Black folks there is just astonishing. And here's the thing, white folks know this. That's why they will absolutely never let this kind of stuff come to their neighborhoods, but it's got to go somewhere. So what do? They poison Black communities. Look at Cancer Alley in Louisiana. We can just go community. Look at Flint, Michigan, the water in Flint, Michigan. We can go
to this day.
Come to this day. The young girl, she started off like younger than my daughter Lizzie. Now she about what 20-some years old now.
A poet. Yep.
Still fighting. Was it Marie Copley or Mary Copley? Still fighting to get clean water in Flint, Michigan. But here's the thing: every single one of these are being done in Black communities specifically, and then we have people paid professionally to go on CNN and say, "Oh, there's nothing racist about it."
No. Before
Education.
I'm going to education, but I was trying to see where I wanted to go with it. Before I do get to it, if you guys haven't already, make sure that you like, you share, and you have subscribed to our channels. You got the Benjamin Dixon Show over on the Benjamin Dixon channel, and you can go and subscribe. Make sure you like, you share from my channel, Rebecca Azor. Did I tell you guys that I'm on? They recognize me as a public figure on Google.
Oh, really?
All you gotta do is Google me.
Hang on, let's
and it comes up. I come up like a public figure. I said, okay, after 10 years, okay. You know, I don't want to say my little following because y'all on here, all 49 of y'all. Make sure that you like, you share, and you subscribe. Please do, because each one of you guys are supporting and moving forward. I am not ending the show. Stay right here. We got another story that we want to cover. I have 2 parts to this particular story because, and it's talking about Harvard. I got 2 parts to it because in the same time frame, it's been a few days after what happened at FAM, we got the situation with Harvard. So I want to look at it through the eyes of how one school gets so much praise and support when they are going through something or being hit with.
I love you, Rebecca. You will not let nuance go untalked about. You ain't gonna let Harvard get away with being so victorious and so brave.
I don't care. I will not. I won't. So recently, a temporary restraining order. This was on Friday of last week. A temporary restraining order was issued by a federal judge blocking the Trump administration attempt to revoke Harvard's ability to enroll international students. That's racist in itself. Y'all know. So it blocked, Trump trying to get them to do so, to make sure that international students are not able to enroll into Harvard. There's an attack on elite schools. And of course, the unqualified, what's her name? Linda McMahon is walking around, can't spell, don't know what education terms supposed to be used. She's the one that's the face of walking around here, heading these orders. So it was granted in response to Harvard's lawsuit filed against the administration. So Harvard had sued Trump to prevent the revocation of their certification under the Student and Exchange Visitor Program, the SEVP, and the court's action allows Harvard to continue enrolling international students. That's important. And there is right now an attempt to remove funding. I think Donald Trump wants to remove, I think it's $100 million. He seeks to pull it, an estimated $100 million from Harvard in funding. So, once you mess with Donald Trump, he's doing it saying that there's anti-Semitism happening at the school. He doesn't want to be a part of it, trying to find things, reaching, of course, with dinosaur arms. And so there's nothing there. All of this stuff is because they had the audacity to take it there. But let's go to FAMU. FAMU has been attacked. Not just recently. HBCUs have been attacked. Donald Trump had said that he wanted to give money to HBCUs initially. That was in the start of his presidency. And I'm not talking about this second term, I'm talking about in this first. And everybody's like, well, he did this for HBCUs. You got to be careful to accept money from the ops. Because once they do that, it's like, I did this for you. Now you owe me. So HBCUs had said, you know what? We don't even want your money no more. Ronald DeSantis came here. He attacked the HBCUs. He went after FAMU. This is before Larva Marva came into play. He attacked HBCUs in a sense where they needed to stop teaching about Black history, which is really, like I said, it's not possible for an HBCU to do so. He threatened the funding for those schools, to stop funding the schools because they did not want to stop. So a lot of alumni came in together to continue to fund the schools. And of course, FAMU, we have amazing alum. And with that being said, we just saw how the Ronald DeSantis appointee was placed in literally a day before they traded out the Board of Trustees member to vote for her. She was a write-in the day after. So there were other people who were nominated for the position, who were eligible, who've already been interim, all these things, who know education, who have graduated from HBCUs, who can help move the HBCU further, who want to protect it from people like Marva Johnson and her being a pick from Ronald DeSantis. I say all that to say, Harvard has the ability in their whiteness and their white privilege to fight back against Donald Trump's administration. Overnight, so many people began to fund and give to the university. Already elite university that gets, I'm not saying that FAMU is not elite, but we always got to work 10 times harder to keep our excellence name, to keep our Blackness golden, to keep our talented 10th attitudes. We got to work 10 times harder. People seen and heard what happened at FAMU. And we over here in the meeting begging for people to give past, outside of alumni, people to give and continue to fund because we're going to need it for the fight that we're about to have. But all because Harvard had the ability, the money to give, to put a restraining order against the administration, to hire people to make sure that their international students are protected. People thought that was amazing. And they began to give out of the wazoo. But it just goes to show how they think about the attacks on HBCUs and how they see the attacks on elite, predominantly white institutions. And then we have our elite HBCUs being attacked. But we got to fight harder. We got to meet on Zoom calls. We got to do all that. They didn't have to do nothing. They ain't got to do nothing. We got to work 10 times harder. But it just goes to show you the scope of things, how they don't care. And I'm talking about generally, the public doesn't see the value in an HBCU as they see it within the PWI. Both being attacked. So with that, I say, if you can, head over to FAMU. Please give. Please. We know that FAMU can't be bought, but we can help continue to fund it in this time that we are fighting for our students. We're fighting for our alum. We're fighting for our history. It is just as much an elite school as Harvard is. I know that the name Harvard in the United States, which was once only white, is a protected university. FAMU isn't protected. You know the people that protect it? Us Black people. But the nation doesn't protect our university. We got to fight for everything. So in the same way that Harvard's being attacked and you guys can see it and y'all want to give them all the opportunity and say, yeah, y'all, they fighting back. We gotta give it up for Harvard. I pray that y'all can find the same grace and covering and wanting to protect and uplift and fund FAMU the same way because we deserve it. So that was
that's the history. That's the balancing act. That's the difference. See this.
Charlie,
White
you
folk.
right. Send in the donation so we can get our queen a new camera that don't go out when she's cooking. It's really my yes, it's the batteries, and I need to get the plug to make sure it stays open. The camera's great, but it's the computer, y'all. The computer, I don't know if y'all can hear it, it's overheating, it's all the things. That's really the problem. And it's liable to cut off at any moment. The internet and all, it's a whole thing. But thank you for pointing that out. I'm looking at the comment
Listen,
section.
we hold this ship together by tape if necessary.
Baby,
We keep it going.
it's take that. It's take that.
Yeah.
No, but
No,
the camera is A1. It actually came from Ben. It's A1. This is one of the best cameras. It's a Sony A6400. Very, very good camera. It's basically the battery. I need the little cord to keep it. It's just the camera's great. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know, Rebecca. I just know it's the same game, same story, different day. It's the same loop. And this is why I feel like there's a whole faction of let me make it like this. The white folks I love and rock with are like Antifa. Folks who literally would get out there and put their money where their mouth is, put their, put their life, their bodies on the line. They don't just, recognize the threat of Donald Trump and then turn around and embolden the same systems, right? We need white folks who would tear the system down. First, you got to understand that the system is the way it is. And I'm talking really about what you're saying in Harvard and FAMU, right? It's the same thing that I asked you earlier. You think about all these well-meaning white liberals who know Donald Trump is a fascist, but they won't connect that fascism to white supremacy. And so they're going to let it keep repeating over and over and over again. And I know that there are plenty. Matter of fact, I was talking to my pastor, Pastor Robinson, and he said, the Lord has shown him that there's a whole new generation of abolitionists in the spirit of John Brown. And he said, but the Lord didn't show him where. He's like, I don't know where they are. I just believe they're out there. And I said, I know where they are. That's Antifa. And there are plenty of anti-fascist white folks out there who understand and are willing to put themselves out there to literally fight the system that they could turn around and benefit from, right? That they do benefit from, and they kind of reject that benefit. But then there's this whole other batch of white folks, most of them inside of the Democratic Party proper. Like they're like good Democrats and they hate Donald Trump and they're going to fight Donald Trump with all they have, except for the white supremacy aspect. They're going to fight him on democracy. They're going to fight him on fascism, but they won't connect the white supremacy to the whole thing. Same folks, they're going to send their money to support Harvard, but they're not going to see what's happening to the black universities. And so it's like we need more radical white folks who know what honest time it is, because we are going to need allies to survive and win this fight. But I just got this real icky feeling that there's going to be plenty of Democrats who are going to, once they realize it's white supremacy, that's the real problem, they're going to side with white supremacy.
Absolutely. Because it benefits them. I want people to know that white supremacy, if you function in it, especially if you white, you benefit from it and you can tap into it. But it's the people who will use it for good. It's like, some kind of witchcraftery, but you will use it for good, or you'll be like, you'll turn on us, you'll grift because it's easy for you. The few black people who have grifted, I know it pays. It pays to sell your soul. It pays. I say that to myself. I'm trying to speak that against my heart. It pays. It pays. Ooh, boy, does it pay. But if you have your heart in the right place and you really want to fight the fight, join in, right? Join in. And we need you to be radical. We don't need you to go to the rallies and the protests and look for bounty houses. We don't.
You ain't gonna ever let that white lady live that down.
Never. She doesn't deserve to live it down because she was so mad. Like, I can't want my child to have a bounty house
at the protest.
And then the people in the comment section, baby, I should have included their comments because it was us reading her, but it was also me trying to say, hey, you got this wrong, sis. And it was her saying, I don't think I did. Like, I think that I should be able to like say what what I wanted there. Oh my God. Like, people are getting so mad and butthurt. So a girl came in there and says, I actually see what you're trying to say. Like, I do. I really see what you're trying to say. And basically, it's that, like, you were looking for more of a situation that was, like, beneficial for you and your child. I know we're fighting for and against fascism and racism and all those things, but, like, your kid needs to be watched and in a safe environment, So I totally get it. I totally get it. They want to come at you, but I totally get it. And white men with big platforms were coming in there attacking us for speaking at her, and telling her, you got this wrong. White people will use it. I told you, they'll be out there in the mix and then come online, give a grievance that is totally terrible. And then when we try to say, hey, that was wrong, use their white power and call out the white men. Out in the
wait a minute. I can't stand you. Because it was
that I don't know. That was funny to me because why would I do that?
It's how you turn to the side. One is what you said, is how you said, and how you acted it out. I can't stand you, Rebecca. Do it again.
They're gonna call them like caw, and it's caw because it's Caucasus. They call them from they call them to the Mount Caucasus, right? And then the white people just come. And it'd be white men, and they come and attack, and they come and attack black voices, and particularly black female voices, and that's what happened. So he came and he was just going off on everybody and with his big platform and attacking folks, and because this woman said what she said, and because we were clearing her, white folks get away with it. She used her white tears, her virtual white tears, and that's what happens. That's what always happens. You think that they're being an ally, and this is why I say it's so hard to trust y'all. And it's people in the audience, and it's not no shade to you. It's because of what's been happening. We allow people in, and it turns out that they were TYT the whole time.
Oh, that's the dang. What is that? That's a literary device that you just use, and it is like, my goodness, TYT has become the way to communicate treachery. Wow, that's the shorthand. It's the meme way of saying betray your people. You did a TYT on us.
Yeah, they use us for clout to build up things, to build their platform, and as soon as they get the opportunity to grift because it pays, then they're being ran by, or they're filming out of the crypto whatever
Poly Market Studios.
Yes, Poly Market Studios. And so now that's where the money is. And so
somebody just said that earlier in the chat, broadcasting live from the Poly Market Studios.
And they got to say it every time they get on there. Yes, every time they get on there.
That's that. And I hope, and I know. See, that's why I like folks. This is why I rock with so many folks from the trans community, who's Charlie just mentioned happen to absolutely be like really deep in Antifa, because like there's a fight that they've already had to fight in society, and it's kind of encoded in their head. I'm more. And I'm saying all this to not come at our audience that we got a lot of white folks in our audience.
And I love them. I love them. Mean it. It's fair.
But when you have seen white progressives switch out and go from being covering what's our boy name, the football star, San Francisco, that we used to cover up at that store and at that place in that the black Kaepernick.
Oh, look, which one? You should have said,
yeah,
fist in the air. Okay.
Right. So when you go from a season where progressives and liberals and white folks are all about black power and black life and Black Lives Matter and standing up for Colin Kaepernick and all that stuff, and then you see them switch on a dime to being like, oh, that's too black. We can't cover that. Let's not talk about that. Let's push that aside. You kind of get, you're not even shell shocked. You get really familiar with, oh, this is what y'all do. And this is why I kind of like, I rock with the folks who be like, no, not only are we not going to do that, but we'll get out on the street and we will bust you in the face for trying it. That's the kind of white folks that we need. And I'm not advocating for violence, but let's just be real, right? We're talking about people who, one group of white progressives and liberals who are going to follow the money and follow their comfort. And they will betray so many of their comrades. And then I believe that there's a group that's like, they've gone through enough mess and crap in their life where they're like, not only are we not going to betray black folks, we still gonna keep our eye on y'all, but not only are we're gonna stand with black folks, but we'll be about it and we'll get out in the streets. That's a dividing line for me. Like, either you are going to be an ally who stands with us when it gets ugly and go all the way with us, like John Brown, if necessary, or you're going to be like TYT. Are you going to be like Destiny? Are you going to be like Vosh? You're going to be like all these people out here who capitalized when it was popular on blackness and then are just as oppositional to blackness now as they could possibly be.
Opposition of blackness, and I hate to do this, doesn't only come from y'all that we talk about. We don't want to attack y'all, but we just don't trust, right? That's just right now. We just show up, do what you need to do. That's it. Now, it don't only come from y'all though. We got folks that are running these spaces, and I want to call one out. You mentioned the LGBTQIA plus, who's constantly getting attacked for whatever reason, especially right now. They're also major marginalized group that Donald Trump is using to bait in lots of people to attack them. So this is a particular situation that happened on, of course, The Breakfast Club. And I think The Breakfast Club is a great platform that can do better. And I know they can, because Charlemagne actually has done great work. But I think in the last few years, what happens? Grifting pays. Grifting pays. And so bringing in influencers who really don't care to have actual nuanced conversations outside of what they give, and no offense to the TikTok environment where it's quick, where it's fast, where you know, and it's not always safe. So here we are discussing Lene. I want to say her name is Lene. Yes, it is. Y'all know her from the parking lot. She does the parking lot stuff.
Let out or something like that.
Right? She does. It's beautiful, and I love it. But she talks about politics. She talks about religion. She talks about, entertainment. She talks about a lot of things in one, but she makes it very nuanced, and she gives it in a very poetic type style. Kind of reminds me of the preacher Jackie Hill Perry, but gives it in a very poetic type style. And she's on The Breakfast Club because her new show just dropped on Revolt. I want to say it's Revolt. Yeah, her new show just dropped on the Revolt. So she passed by The Breakfast Club, which is also works with Revolt as well. And in this interview, she's talking about the man that she would like because of who she is, right? She's a public figure within politics and things of that sort. And she's saying that she wants her man to be more of a progressive person. Jess Hilarious.
Mess Hilarious.
She comes in, Jess with the mess. She comes in and says, well, make sure the dude knows that women can have babies. Only women can have babies. But it was what Lene said next that I think deserves to be highlighted, because it wasn't with harsh and emotion. She wasn't an angry Black woman. She wasn't somebody who was trying to cater to Jess. She came there with the same vibes she gives on her show. And she did it so smoothly. Be smooth. Here's the facts. Yeah. And that's what it is.
Yeah.
And let's take a listen.
Ingrained in the way that you move about your day.
But
you do have to have some things ingrained in the way that you move about your day, period, to understand that the work never stops. So we just got to find that balance.
And for you, I want somebody who knows that women can have babies.
Oh, okay.
Only women can have babies. I just want to let you know that.
Interesting. There are other people who can have babies.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, if they have a uterus, they can have babies, but they just might not identify as women.
Okay.
Those are two different things. Like, you can be biologically female, but you can't be biologically woman. Because woman is a gender construct, a social construct. But if you got a uterus, you can have a baby.
Yes, that's the point. If you have a uterus, you can have a baby.
Okay,
that wasn't your point.
On that.
That wasn't her point.
Lene,
But you do have
But because she was cleared in a way where it's like, hey, here's the facts. That's not what you came in with. That was, you came in that only women can have babies.
Which I want to throw back. Remember, because that was her big foray back into the spot. Like she used that as a way to create a whole bunch of mess and drama. And what I really appreciate about what Lene did here, right? She, in like less than 40 seconds, actually probably in like 20 words or less, she really just explained, hey, woman is a social construct. Uterus is the mechanisms. There's plenty of women with uteruses, or there's plenty of individuals with, what is the plural? Please help me, somebody. Uteri? I don't know. But they have the capacity, but they don't identify as a woman. Done. That's the whole conversation to me, right? But Jess wanted to be messy, like she always is, wanted to relive her highlights of making all that mess she made around her comments about the trans community. So anyway,
she absolutely got onto this platform, and the first thing they did was have that type of conversation in the packaging of the rollout for her being on the Breakfast Club. It was a part of it. The conversations always led into trans, to the point where T.S. Madison had to come out and she had to speak against the conversations that were being had there. And I don't like that this was unnecessary and thrown out there, but I do love when the response was given the way it was. Here's the facts. I'm not gonna yell at you. I'm not gonna attack you. I'm gonna just give you the facts. And that's it. To the point where it forced Jess to have to agree, even though she really disagreed. Because what can you say about that? Your point that you wanted to make was now debunked. What can you say?
12 words. Like, and she made like Jess was trying to say at the end, and you called it out already, but I just want to point out again. She was trying to say, yeah, that's what I was trying to say. No, that wasn't. That's not what you were trying to say. You were trying to make another moment. And here's the thing. Why try to make that moment at the expense of this Black sister here? Like, where did it even enter into the conversation? Like, where did it even have room? It's like out of the blue, she said, here, let me put this on the table, because she said that she wanted a man in her life that was progressive. And I guess progressive values include support for the LGBTQIA, the trans community as well. And so she just felt like, oh, here's a good place for me to be messy.
Absolutely. And it wasn't. It was a perfect place for an example to be made out of your mess. And this is why I said what I said before. You have thoughts. They don't always have to come to the table, especially in this moment. You are there to interview, have conversations. This could have been a great time for you to ask questions about that, right? Maybe like even if you don't agree with it, this could have been a great. Can you better help me understand? Because I know everybody likes to get on me about my comments about the trans community. Whatever. It could have been a better conversation you could have had, and still dealt with how you think. We got to stop going in these rooms acting like just what the mess works when you're interviewing somebody who can go against everything that you stand for that's negative against the community of people.
And ultimately,
it wasn't there.
What difference does it make to you, Jess? What impact on your life does that conversation have? Why contribute to the smallest percentage of Americans who are targeted by the biggest percentage of Americans? Let's just remember the entire, and it's still going on, right? Trans athletes in sports. It's like 19. There's like 19 trans women who compete in sports across this entire country. Yet we have 125 million people actively going after them like it's the greatest threat to humanity. And I sit back and look at that 19 people against half the population, and probably a little bit more, because they all been watching Candace Owens and Jess Hilarious, right? They've been watching and been feeding off this hatred towards the trans community. So you got this really small segment of society who is targeted by the biggest segment of society. And what literal difference or benefit is it going to make in any of their lives? Literally nothing. All it is giving people a place and a group to target and say, hey, There's our target group for this week, for this year, for the last 3 years. Let's hate them with everything that we can hate them with. And then what do they do after that? It always spills over from that community to the next. It don't stay in one community. If you empower it, if you empower this by pushing hatred towards the LGBTQIA community, don't look surprised when it turns up and it's coming right back in your face because you're a Black woman. And somebody could look at her and say, Jess, you don't have the features. Matter of fact, they do say that. They look at her features and they say that she ain't woman because she don't have the European woman look. She don't have the features of a woman that they want. And so they're going to say that she's a man. Like they try to say that about Brittany Griner, about any number of
You got
women.
it on the money, Ben.
Come on.
You actually got it on the money. While I think Jess Hilarious is absolutely beautiful, the standards of European beauty, she doesn't match it. And especially in America. So she's considered a manly looking woman. And again, that's not my take. I think Jess is actually fine. I like her body. I like her face. I like her features. I think she has features that a lot of others will get work to fix to get.
That's right.
She's gorgeous to me. I don't like the way that she attacks trans community. When so many of people in this nation will look at her and say, oh, you are, because she has strong, she's strong, she's nice and fit. They're going to say it's too manly. The way that she gives it up, because where she's from is too manly, it's too masculine. And I think that's why she clings to the idea, not the camera going out again. That's why she clings to the idea of, I gotta show that I'm a woman. I gotta let people know that I'm a woman. And so let me attack the ones that want to fake being women. And it's like,
how stupid is that?
I'm getting my camera again.
You stopped in the middle of a sentence.
I'm sorry. It's true, y'all. The batteries is dying.
Listen, but how stupid is that, right? How stupid is to say because she is attacked for not being woman looking enough. And wait, let me start here. There's not a beautiful Black woman on the face of this planet that white supremacy won't look at and say you ain't woman enough. I don't care how fine they are. I don't care how many times white women go and get their lips shot up to get their lips as voluptuous as Jess Hilarious's lips, right? But then they'll turn around and say, Jess, you ain't woman enough. They will go and get butt injections to get the butt to look like Jess Hilarious's, and then they'll turn around and say, Jess, you ain't woman enough. They want all of our features, and they will then turn around and say, simply because you are Black, you are not woman enough. Now, how absolutely stupid, Jess, is it for you to then turn around and say, okay, here I'm going to protect myself, but I'm going to attack those women as they're not women enough. That person, they are the problem, not me. The whole time, it never was about you not being woman enough. It was about the fact that you are Black, and now you extending it. You are helping the very people who look at you and say you ain't woman enough by you turn around and attacking the LGBTQIA community. It makes no sense to me.
It absolutely makes no sense. And also, we have to understand that when they are in these spaces, they are doing the work for the white supremacists. They are doing the work that, for the misogynists. They're doing the work. So if we continue, and it comes from a woman, it's like, okay, she said it. When I was talking to Olay about this, I think there's this big, and I actually had a conversation where they came in, her audience came after me for me disagreeing with how she was handling Lauren LaRosa from that platform. And her audience came after me. They were like,
Jess
Hilarious, because I said, when somebody walks around and is a nasty person, and then they're crying about how this institution that you're working for, which I like the Breakfast Club, but I don't like where their direction is headed. So when you're working for this institution that functions under misogyny right now, that literally functions under that, and it's been protecting you, when it no longer serves you, and now you are upset because it's now protecting somebody else, another person, and you're upset about it. You've been protected by this, and you've been functioning it. You've been functioning in it. You've been utilizing verbiage, spewing out hurtful things about marginalized communities. It doesn't stop at trans. I remember, and again, I'm a forgiving person. I recall during the pandemic, or right before the pandemic, I want to say, when she was on a plane going live, sitting next to a Middle Eastern looking person and got upset and said she doesn't feel safe. She began to stream this, yelled it out, and said she doesn't care what people think. She doesn't feel safe because there is a Middle Eastern person who was on the plane.
Ignorant.
Do you understand? It doesn't stop at the trans. It becomes racist. You are attacking different communities of people. And now you're upset. And that's what I was saying. It ain't you benefit from this system. You benefit from this online mindset. These people, the salacious people online who like the drama and the mess and all that stuff. You benefit from that. But when you get in spaces like this, where serious people are going to come, and you've been catered to be small-minded because your takes are supposed to be the contrarian takes. And you can scare people out of positions and you can do all this. But the moment it no longer serves you,
that's right.
We must align ourselves with you. I said, no, absolutely not.
Same.
Go ahead. And people were upset with me about that. And they said I was jealous and that I was going out. I just can't stand her. I said, no, if you got hate in your heart and you've been walking around and the same things that you are saying is happening to you, you were doing to other people, I cannot give you any grace. And I'm somebody who gives everybody grace. I'm a forgiving person, and she has done so many different things. I can't talk about her looks because Jess Hilarious is fine. I can talk about her bag because she gets one. I can't talk about none of that because she stayed with a job. But what I will say is she's problematic in that way. She is, and it pays to be problematic. Sorry, Ben.
No, hang on. Okay, yeah, no, Just Hilarious. Okay, I just had to go confirm that Just Hilarious was fine because I really never really paid attention to her like that ever. I just had to Google and say Just Hilarious. Oh, okay.
Oh, she's beautiful.
Yeah,
One thing about it, Rebecca ain't no hater. If ever there's any issue, and I don't ever want to have issue with any of the girls online, so sometimes I keep my mouth shut about things because people are so sensitive and whatever. A whole group of women attacked me because I had a different opinion about a show that we were watching, which is forever on Netflix, which I love a lot. Women with like blue check marks who know that I'm in the space too try to come against me for having a different opinion about something, about characters in a show. And so even with that, I'm always careful because online can get really messy real fast. I don't like to be a part of the mess. I don't want to be, especially when it comes to these other Black women in this space. But one thing I ain't is no hater. I ain't. I actually think Just Hilarious can be funny, but because now your jokes center to attack marginalized people, and then outside of it being your jokes, in your actual real reality day to day, how your thought process is against marginalized communities, and you're a part of one as well, I can't mess with it. I can't mess with it.
People who are a part of marginalized communities who turn around and attack other marginalized communities, they give me hives. They make me itch. Like, it's like, how dumb are you? How fooled are you by this system to think for a split second that you attacking another group is going to protect you in this space? The only way through this is for all of us. And this is why, I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I've always been good on trans issues or even the LGBTQIA community. And I can't blame the church on that because, like, growing up in my dad's church, my dad ain't never come after the LGBTQ. He never attacked them, like nothing like that. I think I just got it hanging around Pompano, and it was just like, it was a time in the 90s where, they used to say, just drop the F word in movies. Like one of my favorite movies, Bill and Ted Excellent Adventure. They dropped it in there. It was just, we grew up homophobic, right? So I'm not saying this like I'm the most perfect ally to the LGBTQIA community, but what I did do and take time to think about was the fact that I'm spending energy being mad or going after them. It's taken away from my energy that I need to be going after white supremacy, right? Me throwing my energy going behind and attacking somebody else, it undermines me in the long run. And then finally, I actually studied the Bible and I realized that I have a spiritual mandate to stand on behalf of marginalized communities wherever they are, no matter where they are and how they show up. If they are targeted for threat and harassment and oppression, that's the group we're going to side with. So everywhere, I don't care who they are. If you the LGBTQI community, I'm siding with you. The Gaza, that's why I side. Of course, I'm going to side with the Palestinians. Of course we are. Of course we're going to stand with Yemen. Of course we're going to stand with Congo. Of course we're going to stand with Sudan. Like that, it's a very simple and accurate principle. Wherever the oppressed are, that's who we're gonna stand with.
Yep. And Ben, you can take it down now because I know they're gonna hit us for even playing the Breakfast Club on here.
I was saying how long they gonna let us, right? They ain't hit us yet. I'm surprised.
Oh no, they always hit me after the fact, and I have to take it out of the live, and people be missing this great moment that we're talking about because whatever that we use their stuff. They definitely hit us on YouTube. Anywhere else is so funny because they won't hit them on Threads. They all over the place. Threads don't pay no more. Threads do not pay no more. They won't hit anybody else anywhere else, but they will hit us on YouTube. But to those who are catching this live, you're seeing it. You got the first dibs. Ben, that's a great place to definitely be at. We are going to support. We have a duty to support and protect marginalized communities as a marginalized community. Not you putting it back up as a marginalized community.
That's what I was trying to put up. Go on,
as a marginalized community, and that's going to be what we do here. I always say, no matter what, even as I say in the little clippy commercial that we played before this, it's for us, by us, even when they want us to look the other way, we're still going to be talking about what we need to talk about here when it comes to our people, wherever our people are, whatever our people represent, wherever our people stand. When they ain't bothering nobody, we're going to make sure we got you protected over here. With that being said, we are at the end of the show. Y'all, please fund the show, fund the platform, support us. Have you liked this stream yet? Have you shared it? Are you subscribed to each channel? Also, if you can, because I see I only got about 4 in here, Ben, we're gonna get to the to read the cash apps. But if you can, please give. Okay, donate to your host on today, Becca's Voice on Cash App. I desperately need your help. I need your support, as I am. This is all I got right now. So please make sure that you can give. Go ahead, Ben. I don't do it right. I can't. I don't like. Can I have
some? Bad. You know what? It's what's bad is it's so hard for people to ask for money for themselves.
I can't.
I have a hard time asking for money at my church. My wife was like, Negro, if you don't ask these people for money. And so I put my wife, I say, hey, babe, so my wife asked for the church, and here I am asking for you. But here we go. Folks, I need at least 10 of you, 10 people in the audience. If you haven't given already, and we're going to read these super chats, I need 10 of you to send Rebecca a cash app. Send her a cash app and help support what we're doing. We can't do it without you. We are grinding. We're grinding through this very interesting time in our media life, right? Where we're doing this work. Rebecca is doing this work because it needs to be done. She's not doing this work because it's paying her bills, but we can definitely use your help helping her cover her bills. So go to her cash app, which is $
Becca's Voice. I just put it in the chat. But it also understand that this work also prevents me from being able to have a regular job.
She paid a price.
I just twice been let go.
Let go from 2 different jobs. One of them was like, dang, how you lose that job? But hey, they're a Trump supporter, no matter how big or how small. Yeah. They ain't gonna. And this is really facts, you all. Like, I haven't been able, when I lost everything, I was like, oh well, back to the warehouse, right? I couldn't even get that kind of work anymore because they were like, oh, we know who Ben Dixon is, so no, we've been marked, and that's all right. So that means we just gonna stay the course in what we're doing. But the only way we can do that is if you support. So go and send Rebecca. 10 people send at least $10, $15, $25 each, so that she can cover whatever she needs to cover. $ Becca's Voice. That said, let's also read those who already sent via super chat. Not Los. Rebecca, you read them.
Not Los, thank you so much for your super chat of $20 late birthday present. I really appreciate it. I know I haven't been here all week for the birthday, but I really, really appreciate it. Alicia McCullum, like every time I see this picture, I'm like, where are we? What we doing? I love your face. Same, Rebecca. I am so tired. I've been feeling so defeated and like I don't belong in America, even though I was born here. Child, just
rebuke that. You don't only belong here. And you don't only belong here, but Black folks deserve to run this nation. We especially Black women. That's a whole nother episode. I got to talk to you about that too. But we need Black women leadership. Not only do you belong here, but we need you to help lead this nation.
You belong here. You definitely belong here. Tiger, I really appreciate you. We thank you for even being a part of the family. I got you, sis. Go catch some Z's. Thank you. I really appreciate it. Coat Dog, thank y'all for what y'all do. And thank you for being here with us as well. Tiger, once again, Cory Booker gives problematic, nerdy, light skin energy. That's a thing. Other fellow Black nerds gonna know what I'm talking about.
Okay. Now, Rebecca, unfortunately, these next ones came to my channel.
That's okay.
Carrie Shaw, thank you for the $20 super chat. Please rest so that you can record your song for Ben. Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes. We standing in Black woman solidarity over the summer. So if it's not this Sunday, Rebecca, we need you to lead a praise and worship song for Pastor Jay. All right. You said stop asking, Dixon. You keep asking.
Okay, Ben. I got you.
Kitty Muse, thank you for the $10 super chat or super sticker rather. And then Evan Alexander, I'm like 20 minutes behind, and I want to know if you made it to 10 yet.
I didn't make it to 10. I didn't make it to 10. I'm only at 4, but I appreciate our 4 for sure. Thank you.
That part. All right, Rebecca.
All right. Oh, and then I do want to shout out Marcus Chandler. I hope I can say it. I don't know.
But just do the last initial.
Marcus C gave me a late happy birthday, but I really appreciate it, and happy belated to you. I know it was your birthday. You're celebrating that, Marcus. So happy birthday to anybody celebrating in this month, but the ones who was, Taurus like me, because right now is Gemini season. And happy belated to my sister as well. Listen, thank you. I love coming on. This actually feels so great every time I get on with you. So thank you, Ben, for holding it down when you do. We'll see you guys on Saturday. All right. One Saturday morning. Love you. Mean it. I'll see you guys next time. Work that we're doing here is not going to stop when it comes to these type of discussions. It's going to be for us and by us here on this platform when the media is telling us to look the other way. Your support is what helps us move forward. Join patreon.com/like it or not. Help us grow.
Like it or not, y'all. Y'all know what time it is. It's time for like it or not. With Rebecca Azor. Let's start this damn show. Yes, it's time for like it or not. With Rebecca Azor. Let's start this damn show like it or not. Rebecca Azor is in the house. You know she got a funny story to tell. Talking politics, culture, or real life ish. I live in life in the ATL. Benjamin, yeah.